Ladies and gentlemen, we are starting the evening with some breaking news that is coming in. There is big trouble for renowned author Arundhati Roy. The Delhi LG has now given sanction to prosecute her under the stringent UAPA for her provocative speech at an event in 2010. It is alleged that Arundhati made the provocative speech at a conference organized under the banner Azadi, the Only Way in 2010. This is where she allegedly strongly propagated that Kashmir was never part of India and was forcibly occupied by the armed forces of India. But for the author, the renowned author, to be tried under an anti-terror act, will that hold in a court of law? That's a question I'm putting to Sanjay Hegde, who's a senior advocate joining us on the broadcast. Tehseen Poonawalla is joining us on the broadcast as well. Sanjay Hegde, you've heard the news. What do you make of it?
Well, this is just more administrative stuff which keeps happening from time to time. Nobody wants to put a file to sleep, and it gets pulled out the closer some election or the other comes in. So as far as this particular case is concerned, you did mention that this was a speech made in 2010. The situation in Kashmir was a different thing at that point of time. At this stage, to grant permission to prosecute, because that's what the Lieutenant Governor has done. Under Section 45 of the UAPA, no court can take cognizance unless there is sanction given by the central government, or if it is a state case, the state government. The Lieutenant Governor having given sanction now, the very delay itself can be challenged. There are cases from other high courts, especially there's a case from the Kerala High Court, which said that, look, in these cases, you either give sanction immediately whenever the authority which advises such cases gives you a report, then you process it immediately. So here is a case which is now what? 24, we are in 2024 now, 2010. 14. So after 14 years,
14.
giving sanction to begin a prosecution might not exactly stand up in a court of law. But yes, it will.
So you're saying it will not hold in a court of law?
It can be troublesome at the trial court stage. Arundhati might have to move the High Court, challenging the very grant of the sanction sanction to prosecute.
No, in any case, under our law, punishment, the process is the punishment. But, I mean, after 14 years, to grant prosecution under UAPA, what do you put it down to?
Put it down to, as Sanjay said, in a very mild way, bureaucratic hurdles, or as I would put it bluntly, political posturing. Either ways you look at it. But there are a couple of things that will, while I don't agree with what Arundhati Roy said, I obviously don't agree with it.
No one will agree with what Arundhati Roy said.
I think that it is a stupid thing to say. I'm very clear about
but
it.
Stupidity is not a crime.
But that's stupidity.
And it is certainly not a terror act.
Exactly.
It's certainly
so
not
it's
sedition.
Stupidity, but it's not a terror act. I'll just go, and I'm not comparing this case. In America, there were youngsters who were burning the American flag. And the matter went to the Supreme Court to be prosecuted. And a conservative judge, it was a bench that was divided, but a conservative judge said, burning the American flag is very stupid. It's ridiculous. It's idiotic. I'm not verbatim quoting him. But the American flag allows you to be stupid. That does not deserve that you be prosecuted under sedition. So it's the same thing. I mean, somebody's made ridiculous statements in 2010. That's certainly not led to Kashmir being away from India. In fact, Kashmir is more integrated as per this government in India. So her speech has not had any effect. So I don't know how it will be prosecuted. She can challenge it on grounds of delay. But like you rightly said in the opening statement, the process is the punishment. I don't stand by what she says, but this, I think, will be a harassment for her.
Sanjay Hegde, can I quickly ask you a question on the freedom of speech here? Can that be applied to what Arundhati Roy said? Again, as you know, as Tehseen is saying, none of us will agree with what she said. But can it be argued in a court of law and here in the studio that she has the fundamental right to say what she wants to say?
Well, that's a problem with free speech. Anything that is popular does not need constitutional protection. It is only for unpopular stuff that free speech gets tested. Now, if I were to say that you're the best anchor in the world, or that Tehseen is the best politician in the world, I'm free to say that, but nobody is going to prosecute me. But if I were to say something nasty about you or about Tehseen, then defamation and other laws would come in. So there are exceptions to freedom of speech. Now, the UAPA is a law which is very, very broadly worded. It actually is overbroad, but it has not been struck down by any court. So you see what Umar Khalid said, and there's a UAPA case against him. But that was something which was prosecuted in time. Here is a case which was 14 years old, and there doesn't seem to be any rational explanation for the delay. I do think that if it was to be challenged in the High Court, the granting of sanction, that would be struck down. Yes, freedom of speech is involved, but there are also exceptions to freedom of speech.
Very quickly.
I think the three cases before us, one he mentioned Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam. In Umar Khalid's case, again, the government came in time and there were Delhi riots that followed, which they tried to make some sort of case. Though I don't think Umar Khalid, though I don't agree again with him, should be behind jail on sedition charges. Sharjeel Imam actually called for the cutting off of India, which I do believe it attracts this. He said the Northeast should be cut off and they should be, so that does attract that, in my opinion. Arundhati Roy, whatever she said led to nothing. I mean, Kashmir is even more integrated. But again, you don't agree with it, but there are three separate cases. I don't think they should be equated.
Okay, we'll see how this goes. But what has happened is a development that is certainly making headlines.